Hey, thank you for tuning in to Instrumental Intel. I am your host, music producer Chick with Beats, and I'm glad that you're here. Today's episode has instrumentals by me for your inspiration, music industry news, and later my special guest King Samson's going to come and join me, and we're going to talk a little bit about bringing fresh spins to classic and underground tracks. So it's going to be a great time. And as always, before I go ahead and drop that first beat, I gotta give a shout out to my home station, Grander Radio out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. And with that, let's go. Hey, this is music producer Chick with Beats, and you're listening to my podcast, Instrumental Intel. Alright, and I'm back with the Music Biz Brief. First up, Hybe America has inked a new distribution deal with Jermaine Dupri's So So Def Recordings, giving the legendary Atlanta label access to Hybe's global reach and marketing muscle. It also reunites Dupri with Hybe America CEO Scooter Braun, who got his start at So So Def. The partnership aims to launch new artists and legacy releases, blending So So Def's historic influence with Hybe's modern infrastructure. This increases Hybe's growing US presence after the acquisitions of Quality Control and Big Machine, and indicates more So So Def music is on the way. Next, UK lawmakers are considering a proposal to let AI companies train on copyrighted content without permission unless creators opt out. The proposal is now the government's preferred option, but it's facing major backlash from artists and rights holders, while AI developers like Google and OpenAI argue that the plan is still too restrictive and they want full exemption from copyright rules. Major companies, including Universal, Sony, and Warner, argue that creators must be protected and fairly compensated. No final decision has been made just yet. Also, Music Ally and Trolley are hosting a free webinar to explore how fraud erodes streaming royalties and potential solutions. It's estimated that up to 10% of streams are fake and even up to 30% on some platforms. This session introduces the music industry's answer to Know Your Customer with Know Your Artist. Experts from TuneCore, BeatDap, and Trolley will break down emerging fraud detection tools, real-world examples, and practical strategies to help ensure the right people get paid. Independent artists, you may want to join this one if streaming royalties matter to your bottom line. So visit musically.com to register. Next up, the Ticket Act, which mandates all-in ticket pricing and bans speculative ticketing, has passed through key committees in both the House and Senate and is now set for a full vote. The bill requires ticket sellers to disclose the total cost up front, including all fees, and establishes a legal category for ticket procurement services. It also targets misleading resale sites and aims to strengthen the enforcement against ticket bots. Supported by Live Nation, the legislation seeks to improve transparency and protect consumers in the ticketing industry. Also in news, Instagram is testing 2 new features that could benefit independent artists: unlockable reels and monthly summaries. Unlockable Reels allow users to access exclusive content by entering a secret code, which could be used by artists for creative fan engagement, like offering codes through music, merch, or ticket purchases. The Monthly Summaries feature provides users with a recap of their Instagram activity, including views from non-followers and insights to help grow their audience. Both features are still in testing, but they hold potential for artists looking to connect with fans in new ways. Next, Groover, the music promotion platform, is rolling out several new features after securing $8 million in funding last February. The updates include a trending tracks chart, integration with SoundCloud for easier submissions, and a new DJ-focused category. The platform also introduces enhanced profiles for curators, multilingual support, and social media sharing tools for artists. The CEO stated that the rebranding reflects Groover's growth and innovation, marking a new era for the company. And finally, Epidemic Sound saw 29% revenue growth in 2024, driven largely by social media creators using its music. The company's tracks are now heard more than 3 billion times daily on YouTube and TikTok, up from 2.5 billion in 2023. Epidemic's music also generates over 1.6 billion monthly plays on streaming services. Despite this growth, the company reported a loss of $30.6 million for the year. A potential challenge for Epidemic is the rise of AI music tools, such as YouTube's new generic custom instrumentals feature. The company remains focused on supporting human artists and ensuring fair revenue for them in any AI developments. Alright, that's a wrap for the Music Biz Brief. I'm going to take a quick pause for the cause, and then I'll be back with my special guest, King Samson, right after this. Keep it locked. I'm a Chick with Beats, multi-genre music producer and strategist to indie artists and labels. Visit achickwithbeats.com for resources for artists and instrumentals in various genres available for songs, vlogs, blogs, podcasts, themes, TV, film, commercials, and more. Once again, that's achickwithbeats.com. That's achickwithbeatz.com. Let's make something happen. Hey, thank you so much for tuning in to Instrumental Intel. I'm your host, music producer, Chick with Beats, and I'm happy to say that I have in the virtual building with me today, King Samson. If you're familiar or been following the show, you probably caught when he was on talking about the hip hop shop on Yerp Radio with DJ Milk D. But this time, since we have King Samson in the building to kind of dig a little bit deeper into his personal journey with music, excuse me, I'd like to say thank you for taking time out of your schedule to come and chat. And
no doubt. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, let the people know a little bit about who you are and how you got involved with music.
Music? Well, as always, like everyone else, I'm a music lover. Always been into music from since I was a kid.
Okay.
It started, I could say, my uncle that lived with my parents. He always had his radio on, and he was always playing music. And for us, my parents are from Grenada, a small island in the West Indies, and so Calypso was playing all the time in my house. My dad, he loved music too. He's a church man, so he liked to listen to a lot of Western, like country music, gospel, and the oldies like Sam Cooke and all those kind of things. So that's what I was raised on. And my mom always had the old school music going on in the background when she was in the house. So it was always music going on in my house. So finally, when I got older, that's what I latched on to music. And when I found my music, which was hip hop, I was like, my older sisters, they used to listen to the funk music, and I like dancing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Then it got to the point where I was like, R&B is not my thing. The love thing wasn't me. So I latched on to hip hop when I heard it, and ever since then I've been trying to, okay, who's that? How can I get this song? And making mixtapes and stuff like that. And finally, when it got to it, high school, I was hanging around a lot of DJs, but I never got into DJing. So that was the biggest thing. I always wanted to, but I didn't think I could do it. Finally, got to my friends when I got older. Obviously, they said you could do this, and I said I don't think I could do it. And then my friend just got sick of me. He said, "Give me this X amount of money." And I said, okay. And he got me a computer, he got me a little setup, and he gave me music. And he says, practice. And that's how it really started. And then I built up, I got better, I bought more equipment, and then got more friends that were DJs that helped me. Okay. And that's the beginning of it. And then I did a show with my other friend. We had a chemistry lab. We had a show on Twitch. We started just before COVID came out.
Okay.
And then we horned in with COVID, and we kept on doing it and stuff. That was our escape, and people were enjoying it because I was playing music, we're talking, we're laughing and carrying on. And that's how I built up. And then finally, I got to the point with Milk D. I heard he had a radio station, and I was like,
let's do something. Yeah.
So he finally he kind of finally said, okay, let's do something. And I says, okay, you got an hour hip hop. And I was like, yes. And then I remember it's radio station. I'm like, I'm gonna have to talk. I really don't want to talk that much. Yeah. So I proposed to him, well, let's do it together. And that's the beginning and the start of the hip hop shop. And we've been doing it ever since.
Yeah, that's what's up. I've been sharing that I'm a fan. One of the few podcasts that I tune into consistently.
Thank
So
you.
yeah,
Appreciate that.
I love it. You guys have great guests, great questions. And I'm not talking about myself. I mean, the other people. Don't want to sound conceited or nothing, but yeah, and the mixes, man. So that's one of the things that I kind of, wanted to dig into a little bit, like how
Okay.
you get in that
That
process to
zone?
do it.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, the first thing I do when I start my mixes with the show is what are we talking about? So I have to listen to the show again, listen to the guy, listen to whoever I'm talking to for an interview. So if they say we ask a lot of questions of their music taste and their likes and try to promote them talking about the songs or the first time. What was the first song of hip hop you fell in love with? So then when they tell you the song, then I try to piece to work the music to play. Sometimes it doesn't work out, sometimes it works out. So like with when you were on, you told us you like MF Doom. So I was like scrambling. I was like, okay, I know this is the song we talked about. I said I have to make sure I have that. And then I kind of got songs in that genre
Yeah.
and I try to throw it together and make a mix. And that's how I do it. That's how I normally do it.
That's a dope process. How
Yeah.
different would you say that is from when you first started doing mixtapes, like before you even started DJing?
Well, mixtape, the funny thing was when I started making mixtapes is like I was taping things right off the radio.
Mm.
So basically it was just stuff off the radio and I got what I got. So sometimes you can hear the person actually talking because I
Yeah.
didn't clip it fast enough. So, it was horrible. Now
So
it's more cleaner, much more
yeah.
cleaner.
But I mean, like for your selection process,
Mhm.
when you sat down and listened to the radio, were you like, oh, I'm hoping to hear these 5 songs, or did you just kind of go with the flow?
Oh, I used to go with the flow. What I have, go with the flow kind of thing. I'm more, I plan out my mixes more now,
Mm.
especially because it's the show because I want everything to go together. So
Yeah.
I can't have someone
Cohesive,
talk.
yeah.
I can't have someone talking about, oh, my favorite group is like Lords of the Underground. And then the music is nothing near that. I'm
Yeah.
playing like some abstract hip hop. And like people are like, this is not working out. Like this guy's all over the place. I try to bring it back. So, everyone has different tastes, right? So it could take us to a different type of hip hop. So, yes, people are gonna like the same thing. So, my friend, we asked, what is your absolute favorite hip hop song? And he goes, I want to go with what
Yeah.
Chick with Beats said. And we're like, yeah. So he says, I'm gonna pick something else. So his was he picked
Tells
what
a
was it, Public
story.
Enemy.
Was it? Oh, it was the other one. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he picked the other song, Public Enemy. You picked Slick Rick.
Yeah.
Then I had KRS One. So we're just jumping all over the place. So now I could take the different songs and put it together, similar songs and similar artists. I could put those songs together and hopefully we can have a little quick, nice mix.
Yeah. I mean, I love the way everything just blends together. I'm like, okay, I see why that's next. And, it kind of hype that home. But
Yeah,
yeah, you just,
I'm hoping to get people like not just to stand there. Hopefully they get up and then do a little boogie in their house,
yeah.
Why not?
Actually, yeah, 9 times out of 10, I'm making dinner while I'm listening. So yeah, I might
Yes.
be at the skillet, just kind of like,
Yeah, man, I don't
hey,
want your head to bob.
yeah.
I've always been an upbeat kind of person. As I said, I like to dance. I used to like to dance. Sorry, I should say that. So it's all about moving and getting into the groove. So that's my thing. So now that I got older, I really appreciate mid-tempo songs that you could just groove
Hmm.
to.
Yeah.
So if I could, that's the type of music I play all the time because you could just bop your head. At the same time, you could talk to someone and you could just feel the groove and the
Right.
vibe. Yeah.
Yeah, but I even feel like, there was a portion of time where stuff kind of fell right in the middle of that. So I mean, it might be kind of chill, but it was still kind of upbeat to where you could
Yeah,
bob
you
your
have a
head.
little kick to it,
Yeah, yeah. I feel like we don't
I
really get
feel
as much of
90s
that.
R I feel 90s R&B really encompass that for
Yes.
some reason. I'm just like, yo, and you could, sneak in a little hip hop in there too,
Yeah.
like, but
Yeah.
most of the time it's the 90s R&B. Woo!
Yep.
I love it.
So, you know what I was thinking about recently was Mona Lisa. The time she had that song over the beat for MCs Act Like They Don't Know. I'm like, man, this was such a magnificent blend.
Yo,
Like,
love it. Love it. That's
yeah,
the stuff I'm on.
yeah.
I remember that is the type of music when we first used to go to clubs.
Mm,
That is what you heard when you first got into the club. That kind of feel before the headliner DJ. And I used to love it. We used to come in like 20 men deep and
nice.
get our drinks and we get on the dance floor and we used to boogie. We used to get it out. And it attracted girls, of course. So we used to have a
Yeah,
good time partying. I find that's the type of music I love to listen to now.
yeah. I mean, I've said it before. I'll say it again. Most of the time, it's like 80s, 90s in my car. I mean, I might
Hmm.
switch it up every now and then, but I'm of that age to where I just like what I like now.
Exactly.
Like I don't even try to hide it or yeah. But
I don't like honestly, I don't know. I don't have any new music at this point in time. Now, do I have to go get? Yeah, but I'm selective. There's certain stuff I stay away from. I don't have it. I won't deal with it because I'm like, why am I? As I said, I don't really consider myself a DJ because I don't play out. I
mm,
don't I'm not that guy. I'm not playing out. I'm not in the mix. I do this. This is my love. So I'm
yeah,
giving you my love. So if I don't love it, I'm not giving it up. Now, can I play a song I don't like? Yes. But I try to stay away from that a lot.
yeah, I feel you. There's a lot of times with production, people automatically think like, oh yeah, you can do that, you can DJ. And I'm like, there's no way that I'm not just gonna play everything I want to hear. Like that audience is gonna be mad at me. So I understand. Like I have my limitations in that. Like, yeah,
Definitely.
I feel you. Cause yeah, it's different from like there's some songs that I can tell like oh, I'm like all right maybe this isn't for me. I'm not the
Hmm.
demographic. Doesn't mean it's bad. It's just not for me. Like that
Yeah.
I'd be okay with doing. But like you said, some stuff where like I
Yeah.
don't see any merit in this at all. Like
I
no.
just like there's certain like oh Return of the Mac. I remember a lot. Everyone's like going, I can't stand the song. Now I can play it, um, but that's not a go-to for me. So if someone comes to me and says, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, play that song," I'm like looking at them like that's not
Don't
happening.
make me do it.
Don't make me like if enough people are asking, okay, I'll play it. But I'm not trying to play that song. That
Yeah.
you'll see the mix and you say, "How come I didn't hear this?" Nah, I'm not doing it. Hard.
That's funny. I was one of the people that did like it, but I recently, I don't know, maybe sometime after the pandemic, I had posed a question like, okay, what's a popular song that would have you in a position where everybody's like, what? And then one of my friends had responded with that one. I was like, oh my gosh, it must be torture for you. Like, it's still everywhere. You
Yeah,
can't go
people
anywhere
tell me,
without
yeah.
hearing it. So,
Well, it seems like that is a song that is a go-to song for certain DJs,
yeah.
and they always play it. And some like if you if you pay attention to me, if I'm in a club, like if I'm dancing and that song comes on, I stop immediately. And I'm just like, why? Why?
What are
Really?
you doing? Yeah, I
Like
mean,
you kill my vibe, man. Let me go get a drink.
like even commercials and everything. But yeah, I
Yeah,
was like, I
man.
never even thought about that. Like, yeah. So my
I just
heart goes out to those of you who feel that way because I know that's got to be like, oh, again.
I'm sure everyone has a song that is popular and they hate and they're just like,
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
how dare you?
Yeah. I got quite a few that people would probably pull my card for if I said
Yeah,
yeah.
man.
But yeah, I still don't think I hear those as often as everybody else got to listen to Return of the Mac. But but yeah, that's one of those. Yeah.
Yes,
But
sir.
like you said, there's always pop songs that they just do it to death. Like you might even like it when it starts, but then by the time you've heard it so many times, it's like, oh my
Yeah,
god.
they do kill songs. They play it to the point where it's like you don't want to even want to hear it. I remember younger what was that song called? It was a reggae song that was life is what you make it, so darling, my dear.
Oh
I
yeah,
remember,
yeah.
yeah, Ragamuffin, oh, give me the Ragamuffin. Oh my goodness, I used
Yes.
to love that song. Yo, they played the crap out of that.
Yeah.
It got to the point where I don't want to hear that. Like, I remember this is when I used to go to a lot of reggae parties. And we played it. It was hot. It was nice. And then the public got to it. Oh my
Mm.
gosh. I was like, we go to a party and someone tried to play it and we're like looking at them like, turn that off, guy.
What are you doing?
But it's a
Yeah.
good song. It's a
Yeah.
nice good feel song, but they just overdid it.
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, I'll say like since social media and like trending audio and stuff started, sometimes I might like something the first few times I hear it.
Mhm.
And to keep from not liking it, because I know I probably got to, swipe past 50 more reels that are going to have it. Like, I'm not going to add it to my playlist. I'm like, by the time I
Mm.
get done browsing social media, I'm going to hate this. So I'm like, I can't have it both ways. So it's kind of like a gift and a curse, if you will, for stuff going viral that way.
Yeah, well, the great thing now is because I don't listen to radio anymore.
Mm.
Um, so it's funny, I listen to my own mixes because I'm like critiquing myself all the time. I'm like, oh, that was horrible. What was I thinking? I'm like, oh, you gotta tighten it up. And so I listen to a lot of my own mixes and my friends' mixes, and it's like trying to see what they're doing, and I'm like, oh man, that was nice. Oh, gotta tighten up, gotta get better, and you gotta practice, that kind of thing. So I don't have the overplay of a song now unless I
Mm.
do it.
Okay.
So if
That's
I
a good way to
overplay
go.
something, it's my fault. In fact, if you listen to like some of my earlier mixes, there's certain songs that always happen in my mixes, and I go, oh, I played that again because it's the songs that I love, so I'm gonna
Yeah.
play it.
That makes sense. Yeah, for a while, most of the time when I was in the car, I'd just be listening to my own beats. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is kind of like my generation's version of listening to jazz music in the car. So yeah, I try to switch it up, play a little bit of old school, like for some different kind of inspiration. But no, it's hard because, like you said, I mean, I don't like listening to the radio anymore. I just,
Anyway, it's ridiculous at this point in time.
yeah,
Um, I'll listen to a podcast before I listen to the radio, and then I have a couple podcasts that do have music. They talk about music or they play music.
yeah,
So that's I've I like the I'm from Toronto, so I like the more of a college vibe radio station if I want to listen to it. So
yeah.
they're gonna play the underground stuff. They're gonna play
Right.
the stuff that you want to hear, but you don't know you want to hear it, kind of thing.
Yeah,
So I like that aspect. Uh, if I want to listen to it, so I would listen to more of a podcast because they're not restricted. They don't have to play this certain type of music. They
right.
just take from wherever and they play, and that's what I love.
Yeah, I mean that is a beautiful thing. So I feel like to me, college radio kind of mirrored some of the diversity we had like during the time frame hip hop was getting popular. So I mean, you had so many different types of styles, like you weren't
Yes.
bombarded with the same thing over and over again. But
That's what I loved.
yeah,
I love that about it. And again, so when I do play, I try to do the same thing myself. When I try to play, I say like I don't want to be playing the commercial. Okay, this is what I think, what people want to hear. No, I'm gonna play something that you haven't heard, or maybe a cut that you haven't heard. And if I do play something that you do know, I'm gonna try to do something different to it
yeah. I
to
noticed that on the
make it
show.
funky. Well, you know what? I'm
Yeah,
trying, as I said, I don't call myself a DJ, but I'm trying to step up my game.
yeah,
I can't play, if I play a Slick Rick song, everyone knows that. So I'm gonna try to bump it up
right.
and try to do a little remix on it and stuff.
Yeah, no, you do that very well because yeah, it puts like a
Try.
fresh spin on it and it's something that you're not gonna hear someplace else. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's definitely
I want you to look out for our next episode is my friend Colin Big C, and you need to hear the first mix because I know you would not. heard, unless you're up on your Canadian hip hop, I play a full set of just Canadian cats from back in the day.
Okay.
So you're gonna hear Shaw Claire, you're gonna hear Danny O, I have Wild K, I have IRS, I have was Tire Chase. Um, these are all Canadian hip hop artists in our when I was younger, at
Yeah,
my time in the 90s. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna just do a set of Canadians. So I want you to listen to that and
I
tell me what you
will.
think. Because
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of Americans listening, so they're getting bombarded by us because I talk about my experience in hip hop from Toronto's view, and
Yeah.
it's totally different.
Yeah.
Um, I find I had one of my friends on. He's a reggae head. He's from a reggae sound, and he was playing his version of his type of hip hop he listens to. So it was more of a London kind of vibe with
Yeah.
reggae and stuff like that. And some people complained. They said,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's not hip hop," and I was like,
But it was though. Like I hadn't heard it before, and I'm like, okay, all
"Yeah,
right, I
he
see.
like honestly." I'll say some of it was not my vibe.
Okay.
But I was like, that's his expression. So I let him do his thing. And he was bringing it was hip hop. But a lot of people, you got to do your history.
Yeah.
If you do your history, you'll understand, hip hop came from reggae.
Yeah.
Simple. I'm not the godfather of hip hop. He was Jamaican.
Yeah.
He was imitating what he knew his parents did. And if you know anything about reggae, ska, they toast. It was called
Mhm.
toasting. That's where the MC's on the mic toasting the song, telling you what's coming in, and they
Yeah.
entertained you.
Yeah.
We call it MC now in hip hop.
Right. Right.
That's the history. You can't erase it. So when I bring my views to hip hop from a Toronto, we're closer to our West Indian roots than anything else. So
Mm.
that's why you're gonna hear, like, if you notice, anytime I bring a Canadian cat in, they're always talking about reggae.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Because
did notice that.
we talk about a
Yeah.
reggae, and I'm like, damn, this is a hip hop shop. We're talking a lot of reggae because they're talking about sounds and
Yeah.
um, my the last one yesterday, Brenton B. He's a friend of mine, but he was talking reggae too
Yeah.
because how he started out it was in a reggae crew. He was a sound man and stuff, and he blended into his hip hop career, and he took off. And if you know anything about Toronto, we're diverse to create. It's crazy diverse.
Yeah.
Um, so any culture you could find in the world, you'll find it in Toronto,
That's what's
straight
up.
up. So as much as we're talking hip hop and everything, I wish I could show it, but the Filipinos, you can't mess with them.
Yeah.
They got this hip hop thing down pat. You know, right now, if you look into what are Punjabi,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
you listen to their music.
Yeah.
They're doing their own thing, but you could hear the influence of hip hop of being in North America, and they bring it to their world, and they're doing it. There's some good hip hop guys. They do straight. Some guys do straight hip hop. Some guys mix it with their culture. But I was listening to this on one cat, and I couldn't understand what he was saying, but the beats were hard. I was like, yo, I'll rock that.
Hey, what
I would
fun
rock
is
that, but I don't know what they're saying, so I don't want to play anything. If I don't understand what they're saying, I don't want to play it
that's
because I
fair.
don't know what they're saying. If I could get the understanding of what they're saying, then okay, then I'll move on from there. But
Yeah.
that's
It's
my
a safe
ignorance
route to
because,
go. Well,
but
yeah, but
yeah. So what I'm saying is basically our culture here in Toronto is a little bit different than from the States. Now, I think New York would understand a little bit of ours because the West Indians are heavy in New York. But when you go elsewhere outside, the influence is a bit more different. So
mm,
it is what it is.
I've always felt like, well, right around the time I started discovering, hip hop all over the world, it felt
Mm.
like other places stayed truer to the roots than we actually do here in the States. And I don't mean that like all over, but as far as mainstream goes, let me put it that way.
Oh
So,
yeah.
I mean, it's like a different kind of sound. Like you said, some people put their own influence on it or whatever, but like structurally, it's almost like textbook,
Yeah.
how it started.
Well, you know what? The purists will tell you you have to do this, you have to do that,
Right.
and like,
Yeah.
but subjective. Everyone has their feel and views and stuff like that. When someone tells you, "Oh, I love hip hop," I kind of sit there and like, okay,
What do you
what
mean
do you
by that?
like? What do you mean by that? Because right now they call hip hop people singing.
Yeah,
There's a
that has
lot of,
been baffling
well,
me.
I shouldn't even say singing. I could, people are auto-tuning their voices and whatnot and doing whatever, but it's not, I don't consider it hip hop. I'm saying that's R&B.
Right.
He's not hitting the notes properly, but he's trying to sing. He's
Yeah.
not rapping, but these kids right now are saying that's hip hop. So who am I to say it's not? So,
Yeah, you're right. But no, I've had some of the same thoughts. Like, in what planet is that? Yeah, like he ain't even rapping. Like, but yeah.
well, you know what? It goes to with black music, right? Um, they always want to categorize us and put us in pigeonholes and whatnot. And that's been going on since, if you do the history, it's been going on from the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. They've
Mhm.
been doing it from day one. They can't listen. If someone is singing, if a black person is singing, they automatically say R&B, and the
Yeah.
guy's a punk rocker.
Right. Very
So
true.
they, oh, but you need to be over here. No, but I don't do that. I do this.
Right.
Like you see it all the time. That's what they do it. So they call it urban music, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Even
like
if you're
I
from the
look
country. Yeah.
it always happens. So they always do that with music and with black music, in fact. So um who am I to say this is not what this is and whatnot? I'm not that invested in it to fight with everyone and say, oh, that's not hip hop. But what I do know is good music is good music.
That's what's up. Yeah.
If it's good, it will last.
Yes.
People don't realize, like, look at Meth and Red. They still rock that music to
I
younger people know
mean,
that music because younger DJs are still playing it because it still rocks a party.
yeah.
That's good music is good music.
Yep.
If it's not good music, hey, it's not gonna last. That's all it is.
For real. And I'm not even saying that this is a goal for anybody or a goal that they should set. But even when you're looking at all these companies that buy catalogs, they're not buying most of this newer stuff. Most of it's what they're considering evergreen. Like you can still play it, people still recognize it.
Well, the new music, they still have time to figure it out if it's good or not,
That's true.
honestly, because think about it. Now, let's go back to when we were listening to music the first times. Obviously, we loved our music and everything like that, but there's certain songs that came out. Now it still plays. If someone plays it, oh, that's my song, right? But
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, some of those we knew ahead of time. Like when it hit, we knew. Like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, we weren't
Sometimes you
calling it
thought
like,
you knew the song before the song came out. The song came out just yesterday, and he's like, "This feels like I know this song already."
mm,
Right? Because they
yeah,
sampled this or they did
yeah,
certain things to it, elements of different songs and try to trick you.
right,
But you knew it was good.
yeah,
And we still, when you hear it, you love it.
right.
Some have to grow on you, and some are just horrible. And we don't play it.
So true. Yeah. Well, man, I'm so sad that this went by so quickly again.
That's all right.
Yeah, we got to do this more often, I guess, because I
Oh
love hearing
yeah,
your
man.
perspective, especially being from Toronto. I don't
Hmm.
have a whole lot of connections there, so it's kind of fun to hear these stories. I can't wait to check out that episode to hear
Yeah,
some of the
man.
cities.
My boy Colin, he's special to me because he was my DJ friend in high school. So he kind of taught me a lot about DJing. So I became a snob. You hear it in an interview. We go out and the DJ didn't hit right. All hear is cack, and I'm dancing. I'm having a good time. He says, "You didn't hear that?" Oh, I'm like, my bad. Like, what's wrong with you? But he taught me a lot. So it's a big interview. It's a big interview for me with him. And we try to do the Canadian thing. I try to do the Canadian set because I haven't played any Canadian music. So I said, okay, it's time.
Yeah, well, I can't wait to check it out. I'm excited to listen and be put up on game. So, yeah.
Well, hopefully we could do it again. Maybe, you know what I have to ask is I need to get some of your production so I can start playing underneath and doing some funky stuff with it, man. If you bless me
Okay.
with your stuff, oh,
All right.
we have to do some stuff. We have to do some stuff.
Yep.
Get a little remix going on.
I already know some stuff I can send you, so I'll make sure that I do
Definitely. I'm
that.
always open. I'm ready to do some stuff.
All right, let's work. Well, thank you again. I
No
want to make sure
doubt.
that everybody knows where they can find you, follow you, and check out what you got going on.
Well, Instagram at King Samson Official. That's the best way of linking with me. I'm at the Hip Hop Shop every Tuesday at 7 p.m. and that's at Europe Radio. So that's YURRP radio.com. And we do it up every Tuesday.
Damn.
So just come through, drop a line, and enjoy yourself.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you so much. I'm
No
already looking
problem.
forward to
Thank
next
you.
time.
All right. Blessings and peace. Take care.
All right, and that's a wrap for this episode of Instrumental Intel. I've been your host, music producer Chick with Beats. And once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. I want to thank my special guest, King Samson, for coming through and sharing his insight and experience. And of course, I want to thank my home station, Grander Radio out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. As always, I've had a blast and I can't wait to come back and do this next week. I got more goodness lined up for you, so make sure that you join me. Till next time, you know where to find me. Tune in, tell a friend, and I'll see you then. Peace.